Well, let's open this up for a conversation, an honest one, viewers. We've heard the Prime Minister, we've heard the opposition all day, in fact, for a day and a half in Parliament. But let's hit some of the points that the Prime Minister has made, and let's see what our panel makes of them. None of our panelists need an introduction. I'm going to frame my first question for you, Tehseen Poonawalla. You're, of course, a long-standing Congress sympathizer. You're part of the dynasty in the Congress party, so you know the family very well. You know their outlook, the way they think, etc., etc. And some of those barbs must have hit them. For example, he said you're going to sit in the opposition for a while because of your propensity to shoot yourself in the foot and because of your cancel culture and your break India politics, your dynastic outlook that leaves the party bereft of new ideas and new faces. Now, Tehseen Poonawalla, in each one of these attacks, the Prime Minister seems to have done his research very well, because the hard facts seem to absolutely fall in his favor. You've shot yourself in the foot. The India Alliance itself, its constituents are shooting themselves in the foot, or perhaps shooting their ally in the foot, even before the race can begin. There was a movie that I watched once where a dictator, it was a funny film, where a dictator is running and it's a 100-meter race, and he pulls out his gun and he shoots all the co-runners in their feet. So, I mean, shooting yourself in the foot has become a metaphor that applies perfectly to the India Alliance. How can you disagree on this? Just hear what Mamta has to say, or the Congress has to say about Mamta, and vice versa, and the AAP has to say about the Congress about the AAP. I mean, it's quite apparent, isn't it? Tehseen Poonawalla.
Good evening, Rahul. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and I'm glad you mentioned the funny movie, The Dictator. In fact, it's ironically called The Dictator, and I'm sure you must have seen the movie intently, because the dictator in that movie is a strong man. He does not like to take questions. He does not like criticism from foreign media. He's quick to brand people as undemocratic and anti-national. And even his scientists, he explains to them how the rockets should be made. Just as I heard somebody in an interview tell that radars can be hidden from cloud cover. So, I'm glad you watched the movie. And as for shooting in the self, yes, we've seen what's happening with all the agencies, particularly the ED, where the opposition is being shot in the foot, not just shot in the foot, shot in the back. And yes, the Honorable Prime Minister did mention the ED. I did hear his speech in complete detail. I was watching CNN News 18. I did hear the Honorable Prime Minister speak. What the Honorable Prime Minister forgets to mention, or I think does not bring it up, is we all have faith in the judiciary. But the judiciary can do very little in cases of ED, simply because the way the PMLA laws have been passed by Parliament, some under the finance bill in this government, where you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. So judiciary cannot give you bail. Now, I know my opponents will give out one odd case that there has been a bail, but in 99.3% of ED cases that have gone to courts, mark this number, bails have been denied despite no money trail. Despite no money trail, bail has been denied. So that's the reality of the times we live in. So yes, the opposition right now is being shot in the foot by the dictator. Okay. We see as it is.
Okay, but Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, did the ED tell the Congress to cheer the ED probe against the AAP? For example, it happened in Delhi. The son of Sheila Dikshit, the Chief Minister, welcomed. Mr. Markan welcomed the ED probe against the Aam Aadmi Party. That's your ally. And then, of course, you have the AAP that travels to Bengal and, of course, is in power in Punjab. And in both places, it welcomes the ED action against the Congress as well as the TMC. That's not the ED sitting on the backs of any of your friends or even the Congress party, is it? Are you going to distance yourself from these statements?
That's right. No, not at all.
So then,
the
Prime Minister is right when he says that the opposition is busy shooting itself in the foot. The metaphoric pistol is pulled out, and the Congress, while running the race, suddenly decides to shoot Mamta Banerjee in the leg. Then she whips out her little pistol and shoots Rahul Gandhi in his back. by saying that what's he doing in my state? Why is he here? Why is he tying up, hoping for a tie-up with us? Samajwadi Party also pulls out, the revolver to shoot Rahul Gandhi in the back, saying they can't expect any more seats. They're losers. I'm not saying it, they're saying it.
I'll answer both your questions, Rahul. I've understood both your questions. I'll answer both of them. So to first answer your second part of the question before I specifically answer the ED part, let me answer the second part. Rahul, what you call shooting in the foot or shooting each other, that in simple language, I understand it's difficult right now for most citizens to comprehend the atmosphere we're living in, is democracy. You fight each other, you have to fight, you give me the opportunity to put my point across. It is democracy 101, and then you come together on a national consensus. I'll tell you what is shooting your opponent
democracy
and bullying your opponent.
101.
Give me an example.
No, this is democracy, not 101. It is one against one.
Rahul, I'm a guest on your show. Rahul, I'm a guest on your show. If you cannot give me the respect, if you're going to have a background sound of somebody laughing hysterically, I can leave. But I don't do that to other panelists. I don't expect to be humiliated. Can we have a decent, mature conversation as adults and not have immature behavior, juvenile behavior? If you can conduct it that way, I'll continue.
Oh my God.
You decide now. I'm your guest. I want to finish my conversation.
Don't lose your cool. Finish your point.
I'm not losing my cool. Let's not be juvenile on your show. Your show is very
silence.
Somebody can act juvenile and that's
silence, everybody. Silence. Okay, let Tehseen answer the question. Is it democracy 101?
And I'll take
or is it democracy
seconds.
1 against 1? Yes. Is it democracy 101?
That's okay.
Or is it democracy 1 against 1?
That's okay. It can be 1 against 1. That's still a democracy. I may not get along with Dr. Ranganathan on some views. That's still democracy. And we agree on some, we disagree on most. That's fine. That's democracy. That's not shooting one another on the foot. I'll tell you what is, and I'll end my answer here. When the Enforcement Directorate goes to the court on Chhagan Bhujbal and says we have to close the probe, because whom the Prime Minister called corrupt, because we've lost the files. When the agencies go to court and say, look, we are sorry, we raided a BJP MLA, 9 crore rupees was found, but you know what, we conducted this raid without taking his permission. So we have to close the probe. That is the problem. The agencies must act fair in every case. If Himanta Biswa Sharma, against whom the BJP removes a white paper, is suddenly made from an accused into an approver, that is the problem.
In
the
how
problem
many of these cases, sir, Tehseen Poonawalla, my quick response to you, in how many of these cases has the Enforcement Directorate been pulled out by the courts and told to stop their probe?
It won't happen.
It won't happen.
Because even in cases where
it won't happen, viewers. It won't happen. Okay, now that's it.
It won't happen.
Now let the BJP come in. The BJP national spokesperson, let her come in now. Sanju Verma, I didn't hear a pointed rebuttal. I heard a little bit of obfuscation, but you need to respond nonetheless to the obfuscation also. So, two basic things. Is the Prime Minister flying off the handle, making all sorts of accusations against the opposition that can't be justified by fact, hard fact that is? And number two, the ED is, sorry to say, becoming a cage parrot in the hands, as Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla and the Congress party and the opposition says, in the hands of dictator Sahab Modi. How do you respond to this?
Okay. Rahul, thanks for having me on your show. We are 16 minutes into the debate. I will take less than half the time that Tehseen Poonawalla took. He made zero sense. He spoke incoherently. He engaged in whataboutery. And what is more pertinent is that, Rahul, before answering your question on a lighter note, these days, whenever I go on debates, the moment I raise my hand or my finger, which comes naturally to me, even before I utter a word, the Congress spokesperson say, why is she raising her finger? Why is she raising her hand? The other day, I was just smiling. Look at her. Why is she smiling? What is this behavior? And now, I have been accused of engaging in hysterical laughter. Be that as it may, the last thing I need is certificate on integrity, demeanor from a vanquished party's vanquished unofficial spokesperson who is a paid panelist. Point number one. Now, point number two. Let this vanquished paid panelist listen very carefully.
Rahul,
I'm not paying you. I'm not paying you, but maybe.
Thank you.
It's your turn to listen, not to speak. Thank you. Calm down now.
Just setting the record straight.
Don't be hysterical.